Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you a cool earring design where you cut out shapes and you loop them to create the earring design. Now, I'm going to be working with white Primo polymer clay, and I've got this rolled out on the thickest setting of my pasta machine because I'm going to be texturing it. So whenever you texture polymer clay, you want to make sure that it is thicker than what you're going to actually want it to be, about double the thickness of what you want it to be if you're using a deep texture stain. Also, I'm burnishing it between two pieces of plain printing paper just to give it a matte finish and to get rid of any roller lines that might have been introduced from the pasta machine. Then you're going to grab your texture stamp of choice, and today I'm going to be using this really nice ocean themed silicone texture. If you're interested in it, I do sell it on my Etsy store, Jessima Design. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to place that clay straight in there, and I'm not going to apply any water because the silicone is already quite stick proof. And then for the texture on the other side, I'm actually going to use bubble wrap. And I'm going to texture those both at the same time. And press from one side. I'm standing up to put all my body weight into this. Okay, and just continue doing that. You can use your roller if you want to. I prefer using my fingers. Okay, and that should just about do. And you can flip this over and double check on the other side to see if the texture has imprinted properly. Okay, just lift that up. And the bubble wrap texture is going to be light. I'm still going to use that, so keep that. And this side should also have imprinted nicely. I'm not sure how well that's going to be picked up because it is just white clay, so a little hard to tell. But I'm still going to actually work on the paper in a moment. At the moment I want to cut out my earring shape, so I'm going to work on the ceramic tile. Okay. And I'm going to use this little surfboard cutter, which I think is a nice shape to curl around. And I'm just going to find a spot where I'll be able to see a lot of the shells. And don't worry, this texture will be highlighted really nicely in the next step. For now, it's going to look a little bland. And just make sure that you find a good spot. That should do. Okay. And of course, because this is just white, you can either cut out more pieces if you want, or you can just pop that straight back in. I'm only making one pair of earrings today, so I don't need more of that. Okay, and then just lift that up off the tile, and you'll still have the texture on the back, and just clean up any fluff around the edges. And what we want to do is just kind of pre-roll it. It's supposed to kind of sit like this. Okay, and you want to make sure that your clay can do that before moving on to the next step, because if it can't, it hasn't been conditioned properly. And so at this point you want to make sure that everything is going to work well, because then you won't end up with any waste, because if it isn't working, you can always just recondition and retexture. Okay, and I do want to curl it now, because once you introduce alcohol ink to the situation, which is what I am going to do, the clay will become more brittle, so it's better to at least get most of this process done. So curl it and get the ends to touch one another, and then just pinch and get it so that those two bond together, like so. And I'm trying to be as gentle as possible on this part because I don't want to dull the texture, but I do need everything to stick together. And then repeat with the other one. Okay, and there we go. Final shaping can happen later, so if they're not completely matching right now, it's not something to worry about. And I'm going to bring over a piece of paper because I don't want to make a mess of my tile. And I'm actually not going to use the bubble wrap, I'm going to instead use plastic wrap. I'm just going to bring that over and scrunch it all up like so, and have enough so that you'll be able to wrap your earrings in it essentially. Then I'm going to spray a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on here, just a little bit, you don't want a lot. That will do, and that's just to get the inks moving. And these are the colours that I am using today. Make sure to give the gold one, or a metallic one if you're using it, a good shake before using it. And then I'm going to apply that to the area where my earrings are going to be. Okay, and repeat with the other colours. And of course, if you were making more earrings, you could pop them all in together. And this is something that I actually would recommend doing the night before, because this I'm going to let sit for a long time to let that alcohol ink really seep in. So it is something that I would recommend doing like close to before you're finished up for the day, because impatience is a thing. I have to do this near the end of the day because otherwise I fuss and fiddle with it and then end up messing up the results. Alright, there we go. Then gonna grab these and I'm just gonna place them down just a little bit separate from one another. And then I'm gonna just bring that wrap around and just form like a little bundle. Not pressing hard on them because I don't want to misshape them, but enough that the cling wrap is touching them. And that's going to leave just faint impressions on the clay. Okay, and then I'm going to leave them exactly like that for at least an hour. Okay, and unfortunately that didn't work. The pieces broke after about 30 minutes of sitting in the alcohol. So I've made another pair of earrings here. I'm also not going to throw away the other ones. I'm actually going to keep them and show them in a future video. I'm going to show you how you can use those sorts of little accidents. And yeah, so look out for them in another video. But for now, I'm going to take these and I'm going to pop them onto a rounded surface so that they can bake. And then I will apply the alcohol. And I did think that this might end up needing to happen, so yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to pop them on here like so. They've got their shape, and I'm just going to suspend that and then bake that for a full hour at Primo's recommended temperature. And then once they're baked, then we'll apply the alcohol ink like I showed before. Okay, and so once they came out of the oven, I did the same thing that I did with the raw clay, wrapped them individually this time in cling wrap and left them overnight. And so now this is the next morning and I'm going to unwrap them. And by leaving them overnight, the ink should have pretty much dried. There might be some wet puddles here and there, but for the most part it should be dry. Okay. Let's just unwrap this. Okay. And there's lots of bits of dried alcohol, so I'm actually going to just pop over a piece of paper and I'm going to just place the earring on there. There we go, that's the one. And right now the pattern's not really that obvious. I'm going to sand it to kind of get the pattern a little more revealed, and that should show off everything a lot more. But for now, just unwrap them, pop these to the side and clean up the extra bits of ink. Also, if you want to make multiple earrings, you can still use these. You could even just unwrap this and spray a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on it to kind of rejuvenate the ink, and you could lay this on a piece of white clay and you would get a pattern from it. Actually, I'm going to do that in the next video. I have the scraps still from yesterday where the pieces broke. I'm going to do a video on how to use up the ink on the cling wrap and also how to use those up. So look out for the next video, that should come out tomorrow. Okay, and then once you've done that, I'd recommend just keeping these on the piece of paper and popping them into the oven for like 5 minutes just to heat set them, because they're a little sticky at the moment because the ink hasn't had an opportunity to completely dry, and just heat setting them will really just get rid of all the sticky bits and make it so that they're much easier to sand. Okay, and here they are out of the oven, and that stickiness should have reduced. Now, I'm going to put that away and I'm going to pop these into a little bowl of water just so they can cool down further. I also have a piece of 600 grit wet dry sandpaper, and I'm going to use that to just clean up the texture. It doesn't take a lot, just need a little bit to do that. Take that earring and I'm going to brace it on my finger, and then I'm just going to swipe across the surface and go slowly, and I want to reveal that texture. Just dip it in the water every once in a while. The raised areas should kind of come out more white, especially the edges, and that will reveal the texture like that you can see there. So just keep working at it slowly but surely, working away that top surface of ink until you get to the point where you're happy with the pattern. Okay, and here is how they should look when you're done. Also, don't forget to sand the edges and also to roll the sandpaper into a roll and then just bring it through the inside a bit to sand off the alcohol ink sitting on the surface. Here's this one as well. I finished it off, but you can see there how it looks. And I'm not sure if you can tell, the cling wrap has produced a pattern, but it's a little difficult to tell with the texture, but it does just bring an extra layer of complexity to the piece. Now I'm going to drill, and I'm going to use a little handheld pin drill and just going to brace this with my fingers and then drill the hole. And I'm going to go halfway across the one side and then go the rest of the way through the other side. And that way I get a nice straight hole. Okay, and I do want to varnish these, but I am going to just assemble them first because then I can use the ear wires as a way to suspend them. And I'm going to be using Varnishing water-based gloss varnish as a varnish, but you can use any gloss varnish that you want. I'm just going to get that jump ring through. There we go. Okay. Pop the ear wire on, and I'm using gold because that's the colour of ink that I used, but use any metal that you feel matches. And of course remember, you can use this technique with any texture and therefore any colour of alcohol inks you want, so don't feel like you have to do it the way that I've done it. Okay, and I've just got the pot. I like to dip directly in it. You could also brush on the varnish onto your pieces if you wanted to. And then I'm going to suspend them on a wire, just like so. Then dump them in. like so. And you're going to need to spend a little bit of time with them because the varnish will pool in it if you dipped it like this, which I find is fine. I use just like a little baby wipe to get rid of any extra drips, and also I will use a brush to get rid of the extra little bits hanging out there. Just grab that and then push that extra varnish out so that it drips away. And I do this suspended over the tub of varnish, because that way any extra varnish doesn't get wasted and it just goes straight back in to the pot. Okay, there we go. Then I will let those dry for roughly 15 minutes. That should just about do it, and then they're pretty much done. Okay, and here they are once they've finished drying. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That will have sealed in any alcohol ink sitting on the surface of the clay, which is necessary if you are, especially if you have applied alcohol ink to baked clay. When you apply alcohol ink to raw clay, it can be up in the air whether you need to seal it or not, depending on the technique. But if you do apply alcohol ink to baked clay, then it really is just going to be sitting on the surface, so I would highly recommend sealing it. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and if you'll be giving out this technique a try, and if you'll be using this design of earrings. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll get to them as soon as possible. And if you liked the video, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing, as I do videos like this every single day, and I'm sure you won't want to miss a single one. And if you'd like to support the channel so I can continue creating videos just like this one, please do consider joining and becoming a member. There is a link in the description below to my Patreon, or there is a join button just below this video where you can become a YouTube member. They're both one and the same, so whichever one you're interested in, if you're interested, is greatly appreciated. And again, thank you for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.